Hello guys, welcome to the 14th lesson in this VueJS course. And in this lesson, we're going to be looking at two-way data binding and specifically VModel. So let's dive right into it. Okay, so about two lessons back, we had something similar to this. So I quickly constructed that back. And let's come to our code. It's basically something you're familiar with. So what I want to basically do is, okay, we have this value right here, which is the name property. Okay, yeah, the name property, and then we binded using data binding the value right here. So that means this input text field, whenever we change the value of the name, it's basically going to also update right here in the input, which is fine and well. So but what if I actually manually change the type in something? We are not seeing any updates right here. Okay, so remember when I talked about data binding is basically from the data source, okay, to the consumer, the data provider to the consumer. And here it's actually basically working such that the value is being supplied from the data provider here and is being used right here. But there is no way for this template here, our template, to actually pass back, okay, a feedback or the value back to this data provider. Now the previous what we'll be doing all this while is basically one-way data binding. So the data flow is basically from here to here. So these guys here, the template does not actually have a say on what the data is, and that's where two-way data binding come from. Now one way we can do this is I can do something like use the @change event, and then I can say undo change. Okay, so I can do something like, okay, undo change, and I can say, okay, this is going to take in an event parameter, the event object, and then I can say something like this dot name equals to e dot target dot value. All right, let's see if that works. So if I should do this, okay, is that working? All right, we can see that gets updated. And to make it better, instead of using a change, can use at key up. Okay, so that basically listens to the keyboard event. So and then let's see. Okay, we can see that is being that is working and that is being updated. And if we should do this, okay, that also works. And I can say maestro. Okay, and all right, you see now we are able to pass this data right here from this input. We're able to actually pass it upward back to the data provider, which is nice and well. Now V actually has a way to simplify all this. You see the stress we had to go to, we had to, okay, first we did a data binding, the attribute binding, and then we attached an event, and then we had to come here in our method. We had to actually define the method and undo that. This is more of like a three-way step. Now we can actually do this in a one-way step. So the way we do that is actually using what we call VModel. Okay, so I'm just basically going to clear this, and I'm going to say something like V. Okay, let me remove that. I don't actually need a closing tag. And then I'm going to say V model. Okay, let's see. So V model something. That's basically the syntax. And what I'm basically going to do is what we want to bind is to this. Now let's change this to name. Oh, sorry, that should be name. Now this basically tells Vue that, okay, we want the flow to be a bilateral kind of flow. So whenever the data changes here, okay, it gets updated right here. But this input field can also change the data, and okay, it also gets supplied here. All right, so let's save that and let's come here, and I'm basically going to do this, and we can see that automatically gets updated without we are writing any form of, okay, code or any form of event and all of that. So that is basically the crux of two-way data binding. Another thing I think I just quickly want to show you is one of the things we can do with two-way data binding. Let's say this, for example, is a type equals number, and here we have number instead, and we can say 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, so let's save that and let's see now. Okay, this gets increased. Okay, that works. Now we can basically kind of do something like VModel dot number. Okay, so let's save that and let's come here. Now what does this do? Now that automatically tells Vue and allows Vue that okay, this is basically a number we want to actually update and not just a string. And if I should type in let's say SJ, we see we are not really getting, it's not actually getting updated. So but if we should change it back to number, okay, that gets updated. So that is one of the amazing things you can do with vmodels two-way data binding in Vue.js.